I was not supposed to find this. 3 days ago, I was doing my normal market research, looking at charts, checking data, the usual routine. Then I saw something that made me stop, something that made me forget about everything else, something that has kept me awake for 72 hours straight. And now I cannot unsee it. What I am about to show you is not a theory. It is not speculation. It is not opinion. It is documented evidence, court records, government filings, trading data that anyone can access. Evidence so clear, so damning, so undeniable that I had to check it 5 times before I believed my own eyes. JP Morgan has done it again. The same bank, the same crime, the same playbook. And this time I have the receipts. Let me start from the beginning. Friday's silver crash. You have heard about it. Everyone has heard about it. 39% down in a single session. The fastest destruction in modern history. Trillions of dollars evaporated. Retail investors destroyed. Portfolios liquidated. Dreams shattered. The headlines called it a correction. The analysts called it healthy. The banks called it market forces. They are lying. I know they are lying because the numbers do not add up. And when the numbers do not add up, someone is hiding something. Here is what caught my attention. Silver crashed 39%, the biggest single-day drop ever recorded. Panic everywhere, blood in the streets, everyone selling. But the mining stocks, the companies that actually dig silver out of the ground, the businesses whose entire value depends on silver prices, they dropped only 22%. I stared at that number for an hour. 22%. If you know anything about mining stocks, you know they are leverage plays on the metal. When silver goes up 10%, miners typically go up 20% or more. When silver goes down 10%, miners crash 20% or more. This relationship has held for decades. It is one of the most reliable patterns in all of commodities trading. On Friday, silver crashed 39%. Miners should have crashed 60%, maybe 70%, maybe even 80%, but they crashed only 22%. How is this possible? I pulled up every data source I could find. Different brokers, different charts, different time frames. The numbers did not change. Silver down 39%, miners down 22%. The gap was enormous. The gap was unprecedented. The gap was telling me something, and then it hit me. Smart money did not sell. Think about this for a moment. The institutions, the hedge funds, the pension funds, the family offices, the people who manage billions of dollars, the people who have teams of analysts working around the clock, the people who have access to information that you and I will never see. They looked at the biggest crash in silver history, and they held. Why? Why would the smartest money in the world hold mining stocks when silver is collapsing? Why would they not panic? Why would they not run for the exits like everyone else? There is only one explanation. They knew the crash was not real. They knew it was manufactured. They knew it was temporary. They knew exactly what was happening because they were part of making it happen. That thought kept me up all night. If smart money knew the crash was coming, if they positioned themselves perfectly while retail got slaughtered, then there has to be evidence. There has to be a trail. There has to be proof. So I started digging, and what I found made my blood boil. Welcome to Finance Currency. If you are new here, I expose what is really happening in financial markets while everyone else repeats the headlines. I dig into the data that nobody shows you. I name the names that nobody mentions. I connect the dots that nobody wants connected. Subscribe right now and hit that notification bell, because what I am about to reveal is the kind of information that gets buried, the kind of truth that gets suppressed, the kind of evidence that powerful people do not want you to see. If this video opens your eyes, smash that like button. It helps the algorithm show this to more people who deserve to know the truth. Now let me show you what I discovered. This is not my first time investigating JP Morgan. This is not even my second time, because JP Morgan has been caught manipulating precious metals markets before, not once, not twice, multiple times over multiple decades. And every single time they paid a fine and went right back to work. Every single time they promised to stop. Every single time they lied. Let me show you their criminal record, because that is exactly what it is. A criminal record, exposed in court documents, admitted in settlement agreements, documented in government filings. The evidence is overwhelming. The evidence is undeniable. And after you see it, you will never look at Friday's crash the same way again. Let me tell you about something that most people have never heard of. Spoofing. Spoofing is a form of market manipulation. It is illegal. It is fraud. And for over a decade, JP Morgan was doing it in precious metals markets. Here's how it works. Imagine you want to buy silver at a lower price. You place a massive sell order, thousands of contracts. It looks like someone is about to dump a huge amount of silver on the market. Other traders see this giant order. They panic. They think someone knows something. They start selling too. The price drops. Then at the last second, you cancel your fake order. You never actually sold anything, but now the price is lower, and you buy at the cheaper price. That is spoofing. And JP Morgan did it hundreds of thousands of times. This is not my accusation. This is court record, September 2020. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission issued an order against JP Morgan Chase. The charges? Manipulative and deceptive conduct. Spoofing that spanned at least 8 years. From 2008 to 2016, 8 years of criminal activity in precious metals markets. The fine? $920 million. Let me say that again. $920 million, the largest penalty ever imposed by the CFTC in history. But it gets worse. The traders who did this did not just pay fines. They went to federal prison. Michael Nowak, JP Morgan's head of precious metals trading, convicted of racketeering, the same charge they use against the mafia, the same charge they use against organized crime, applied to a JP Morgan executive for rigging gold and silver markets. Greg Smith, JP Morgan trader, convicted. Jeffrey Ruffo, JP Morgan trader, convicted. Christopher Jordan, JP Morgan trader, convicted. These are real names, real people, real prison sentences for running a criminal enterprise inside one of the biggest banks in the world. Read that again. A criminal enterprise inside JP Morgan for 8 years. And JP Morgan was not alone. Scotiabank, caught, $127 million fine, manipulating precious metals for years. HSBC, caught, $76 million fine, 9 years of cheating, 9 years. Deutsche Bank, caught, $75 million fine. They were rigging markets since 1999, 15 years before anyone noticed. Morgan Stanley, caught. 5 major banks, all convicted, all fined, all caught running the same playbook, all caught manipulating the same markets, all caught stealing from the same retail investors. And here is what should make you furious. Not a single one went out of business. Not a single one lost their trading license. They paid the fines, they served their time, and they went right back to work. $920 million sounds like a lot. But JP Morgan made over $40 billion in profit in 2020 alone. The fine was a rounding error, a cost of doing business, a speeding ticket on the highway to billions. Now let me ask you something. Do you really think they stopped? A bank pays $1 billion fine. Their top traders go to prison. They admit to running a criminal enterprise for 8 years. They promise to clean up their act. And then what? They just suddenly decide to play fair? These are the same people, the same desks, the same strategies, the same incentives. The profits are too big. The risks are too small. The system protects them. Why would they stop? Let me show you what happened on Friday. This is the COMEX delivery report from January 30th, 2026, the exact day of the crash. This document is published every single day by the CME Group. It shows exactly who is trading, who is closing positions, who is taking delivery. Most people have never seen this document. Most people do not even know it exists. But it tells you everything. Look at this column. It says stopped. In futures trading, stopped means contracts that were closed, positions that were exited. If you were short and you stopped a contract, you closed your short and took your profit. Now look at line 6061. JP Morgan Securities, stopped. 147 contracts. 147 contracts closed on the exact day of the crash. Let me explain what this means. When you are short silver, you profit when the price goes down. JP Morgan had short positions. On Friday, silver crashed 39%, and at the exact bottom, JP Morgan closed 147 contracts. They exited at the lowest price of the day. Maximum profit, perfect timing. The same bank that paid $920 million for rigging silver, the same bank whose traders went to prison, the same bank that admitted to hundreds of thousands of spoof orders, that bank just happened to time the exact bottom of the biggest crash in history. You believe that was luck? Now look at who else is on this document. Morgan Stanley. 31 contracts stopped at the bottom. Deutsche Bank, 58 contracts stopped at the bottom. HSBC, 60 contracts stopped at the bottom. You seeing the pattern? The same banks, the same names, the same players who were convicted of rigging precious metals, all closing positions on the exact day of the crash, all exiting at the exact bottom, all taking maximum profit while retail burned. This document is public. It is on the CME website. Anyone can access it. I did not hack anything. I did not bribe anyone. I just looked at data that is available to everyone. The evidence is right there in plain sight. When I first saw this, I had to read it 3 times. I thought I was misunderstanding something. There had to be an innocent explanation, but there was not. Same criminals, same timing, same playbook. And this is where it gets even more disturbing. Let me put this in historical perspective, because what I'm about to show you proves this is not random. This is not market forces. This is a script, and they have run it before. Silver ran from $6 to $50, an 800% gain, regular people making fortunes, the Hunt brothers trying to corner the market, everyone talking about silver. What happened? CME created Silver Rule 7 out of thin air. They banned leveraged buying overnight, changed the rules in the middle of the game. No warning, no explanation, just new rules designed to destroy anyone who was long. Result? Silver crashed from $50 to $10, 80% destruction. Thousands of investors wiped out. Silver ran from $8 to $50. Another massive rally, social media buzzing, retail traders piling in. The silver squeeze movement was born. What happened? CME raised margins 5 times in 9 days, 5 times in 9 days, 84% increase in margin requirements, designed to force liquidations, designed to crush retail. Result, silver crashed from $50 to $26, 50% destruction. It took 13 years to recover, 13 years. Silver ran from $26 to $121. The biggest rally in history. Social media on fire. Retail investors euphoric. Everyone talking about financial freedom. What happened? CME raises margins before the crash, raises them during the crash, raises them after the crash. China raises margins at the exact same time. Fed chairman announcement timed for maximum damage. Banks close their shorts at the exact bottom. Result? Silver crashes 39% in a single session. The fastest destruction of the three, same pattern, same tools, same playbook, same destruction. Once is an accident, twice is coincidence, 3 times is policy. And that is exactly why smart money held their mining stocks on Friday. They have seen this movie before. They know how it ends. They know the price always recovers after the manipulation. The miners are telling you something. They are not selling. They are holding. They are waiting. Because this crash was not real. It was paper manipulation. Manufactured chaos. A coordinated attack to shake out weak hands and let the criminals exit at the bottom. Now let me show you the physical market. Because the physical market cannot lie. On Friday, when COMEX said silver was $75, dealers around the world were selling physical silver for $120 to $150, a 40% to 100% premium over the paper price. If silver was really worth $75, why were buyers paying double? Why were coin shops sold out? Why were there lines at every dealer in America? And here's what happened this weekend. Golden State Mint, one of the largest private mints in America, they shut down silver sales for the entire weekend. Their statement? Not able to secure silver. Let me say that again. One of the biggest mints in the country could not get silver. They had to stop selling because there was no metal to sell. The last time this happened was during the COVID panic in March 2020, when the entire world was falling apart, when people were panic buying everything, when the financial system was on the edge of collapse. That is the only other time in recent history that a major mint had to shut down because they could not source metal. And it just happened again. Right after Friday's crash, the paper price says silver is worth $75, but the physical market is so tight that mints cannot even buy silver to sell. The paper market and the physical market have completely disconnected. The paper price is fake, the physical price is real, and the gap between them is not just wide, it is broken. Now let me tell you what I think happens next. The shorts have covered. JP Morgan closed their positions at the bottom. The other banks followed. The manipulation served its purpose. The weak hands have been wiped out. Retail traders who bought on margin are gone. Leveraged positions have been liquidated. The market has been completely cleaned out. But here is what they cannot control. The supply situation has not changed. Silver is not optional. Solar panels need it. Electric vehicles need it. Every phone and computer on the planet needs it. You cannot build the modern world without silver. Demand is exploding. Supply is flat. Deficits are growing. And none of that changed on Friday. Friday's crash did not create new silver mines. It did not reduce industrial demand. It did not change anything fundamental. All it did was transfer silver from weak hands to strong hands at artificially low prices. And now the physical market is breaking. Mints shutting down. Dealers sold out. Premiums through the roof. This is not what a healthy market looks like. This is what a market under extreme stress looks like. I think the recovery is going to be violent. When this turns, it will turn fast. The same algorithms that drove it down will drive it up. The same leverage that wiped people out will create fortunes on the way up. And the physical shortage is only going to get worse, because every crash like this drives more people to buy physical, more people to take delivery, more people to remove their silver from the paper system entirely. The banks can manipulate the paper price, but they cannot print physical silver. And right now, the physical market is screaming that something is very wrong. But I also think something bigger is coming. Look at the margin hikes. You do not raise margins 36% twice in 3 days unless someone is in serious trouble. You do not make emergency changes unless there is an emergency. Someone big is underwater. Someone has massive losing positions. Someone is about to default, and they are scrambling to protect the system from the fallout. The crash on Friday was not selling. It was not profit-taking. It was not a correction. It was a forced liquidation bloodbath designed to save someone big at the expense of everyone small. I have seen these patterns before, in 2008, in 2020. The stress always shows up in strange places before the big crash hits. And right now, the stress is everywhere. In the margin hikes, in the physical shortages, in the desperate timing of announcements, in the coordinated actions across exchanges. Something is breaking behind the scenes. I believe a major market event is coming in the next few months. I do not know exactly when. But when I decide to exit completely, I will say it here publicly, like I always do. A lot of people will regret not paying attention sooner. Now let me leave you with this. 5 banks convicted, hundreds of thousands of spoof orders, traders in federal prison for racketeering, $920 million in fines for JP Morgan alone. And on Friday, they closed their shorts at the exact bottom. The miners did not crash because smart money knew. The physical market did not crash because the paper price is fake. Golden State Mint shut down this weekend, could not source silver 3 times in 50 years. Same playbook, same destruction, same recovery after. This is not a free market. This is a crime scene. The question is, what are you going to do with this information? If this video opened your eyes, I need you to do one thing. Send this to someone who lost money on Friday, someone who got liquidated, someone who is sitting at home right now wondering what happened, someone who deserves to see the evidence before they make their next move. That is how we spread the truth, one person at a time. Drop a comment below. After seeing this evidence, do you still trust this market? Are you holding? Are you buying? Are you getting out? I read every single comment. Your feedback helps me create more content that matters. If this is your first time on Finance Currency, subscribe right now. Hit that notification bell because the next video might be the warning that saves your portfolio. You can also join my channel membership for detailed price action analysis. I bring regular updates on gold and silver so you can stay ahead of the market moves. I will keep digging. I will keep exposing. I will keep you informed. This is Finance Currency. The fraud is exposed. The evidence is clear. The names are on the record. They want you to panic. They want you to sell. They want you to give up and walk away. They want you to believe the paper price is real. It is not. That is how they win. That is how they have always won. Crash the price, create fear. Buy from the panicked at the bottom. Do not let them shake you out. Now watch what happens.